fancy intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Hey Star Trek League of Man fans, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about the Dauntless. I'll actually go over several different layers of the Dauntless. Number one, how it works. Number two, how people are using it. And even though we discussed this coming out, we're going to go over a few different details of it. How many people went after and purchased it in the first couple of days? How are people using it today? How are they crewing it? And whether they love it or not. And to be clear, this is actually a piece of content that was geared towards more the G4 and G5 players than the G6 and G7 players. So let's go ahead and without further ado, jump right into just that. So I'm currently sending mine to an aggregation system. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to the player USS Scud Missile, who actually donated for me to buy the Dauntless so I could have this video out for you and show you how it works. So the Dauntless has an activatable ability, very similar to the Kishara itself. You see, here's the Dauntless kind of flying through space. Now this is a tier 1 Dauntless, and in this video I'll show you a bigger Dauntless, but to activate its ability, it's quite simple. You simply come up here, you have the currency you'll get from your strong box, and you click it. And then it does the work for you. And you don't have to do anything. You can turn your computer off, come back. This is all going to run until it finishes. And you see I've got a 10-minute timer, or until it blows up. It will accrue the resources. More importantly, it will accrue the boxes and get you all the things that you're needing while you're going through the process of, being that guy. As in, now I don't actually have to do the grind. Now, I just chose this system for those curious just simply because there's not a lot of people here, so nothing's really going to interrupt me. But let's use this as an opportunity to talk about how many people went after this ship. And I was actually surprised at the numbers. So less than 10,000 people purchased it, which again, I'm not advocating that people have to go out and buy it. It's more of a gauging the interest. Do people like this type of content? And I was actually surprised that STFC.pro said that only the relativity had less overall initial interest. And let's kind of discuss what you can do with this. I think the biggest bonus, at least coming in, is number one, obviously, reducing grinds you don't want to do, like I'm kind of doing with this loop. It's a tier 1. I'm not expecting much from it. It does definitely get a boost once you have its, abilities active. And that's something important to remember. In fact, let's put that on the screen. Woo, the power of the internet. So now you can see the active ability, Seek and Destroy, and the passive abilities as you see this thing going around and doing its thing. So the passive abilities means it's going to get more apex barrier. It's going to put out or increase the amount of loot that you get while going through these. So I mean, it's great for any particular loot. In fact, the biggest area that I think you're going to find a benefit of this is actually where you get into the mirror universe and use it for rep grinding. For those that missed it, the rep has ballooned for G7, with 9 trillion being the requirement for the level 71 mining ship and 25 trillion if you want to get to the 73 uncommons. Now, I'm not saying don't go after it. I'm just saying that you're going to need a lot of rep. And obviously, those rep systems in the Veil pay out a lot more in terms of base, but the benefit of the Dauntless is to actively grind. As you can see, myself and Darth Marv doing the same thing. Marv looks like he's taking his up a tier or 3. He's at tier 3 right now. And again, just doing some basic grinding with it, letting it auto grind. Now, I do want to point out that neither of them are interfering with each other. They're working well. I've done a lot of testing with players the past couple of days, and we haven't experienced things like with the Kishara where it just simply doesn't work. Like it fails. It is not able to maintain and sustain. It works perfectly fine.
Why would you say that?
That might come and bite me in the butt, but that's just going to be okay. Let's talk about how the refinery process works with the aggregation. Of course, we have spreadsheets for this, but to find all that information, all the goodies, all the things, come over here to your strong box. You can see the strong box will tell you that as you tier it up, you will improve the bundle. Now we can provide these on the screen for those who are curious. Let's do that. All right, so what's inside the strong box you can see here, thanks to the graphics. Shout out, of course, to our volunteers, Quasel, Blue Mando, Jules Verne, and everybody else who helps put these things into a pretty format. So as you tiered up, you'll see the strong box will improve the amount of Dauntless parts you get, the prototype data, which is what you'll need for the research. We'll talk about that in a second, as well as the regular rollouts for things like FT catalysts and speeding up those older loops. Now, as it gets further and further based on your ops level, so if you're a G5 player, you'll see that tier 1 is going to then include other things, including the rares for that aggregation loop that I'm just doing. And then there's also a Dauntless tier up gift. Tier it up, get goodies. We got that on the screen as well. So you can see the value obviously is speeding up the aggregation loop, which is going to help you with a lot of the prototype technology as well as other things as well. The old loops, the new loops, and all the different things. But the big thing really is the auto grinding. Now, the one drawback is this right here. You cannot do this all day, every day. It has a currency that has to be claimed. As you can see here, you can hold a maximum of 300 unless you get given a gift by, the overlords or an event pays some out. So you're going to have a time limitation on how far you can go with it, starting at 10 minutes, maxing out at 30, but eventually allowing you to do it up to 2 hours a day, which could handle a lot of different loops. And again, quite easy to see how that can be valuable, right? I think everybody can agree how that could be valuable. But let's take it an even step further. How would we use this in the mirror universe? And for that, we're going to shout out to my friend Humble over with Horde on server 710. Now, I had Humble do this video to show you a player running, and I said that if you wanted to grind in Mirror Terex or Mirror Romulus, which is something that we're looking at as an upper G5 player or a G6 player, where would you do this and how high would your Dauntless need to be? And in previous videos, I talked about being about tier 9, tier 10, and that's exactly what you see here. Now let's talk about crewing here. There are a few different crews that you can run on the Dauntless. I'll have them here at the bottom of the screen while this runs in the background and he does his great little run of, destroying all the things. But in terms of crewing, we're going to be looking at a lot of Strange New World crew options because remember, don't forget that they deactivated some of these crews. We'll cover that in another video. So some don't work past certain ops levels. But in one, you see we've got Pike, Hammer, and then Rachel Garrett. You see we've got a Mbanga, we've got Seska, and then you could also just run, as Scope was suggested, a loot crew. But if you're really going out into the realm of the mirror universe, you're trying to get as much reputation as possible, especially if we're talking about the far future of G7 where you need trillions of reputation. Then being able to auto grind mirror universe sounds like the best way to go about it. And if you've already reached that 500 bell Trilock, there you go. Now you might go, Rev, well, why would I still want to grind in the mirror universe with the Dauntless? Well, that's because the Veil, the new area of the game, well, it goes back to the old format. It's that 2 to 1, right? So you get most for one, half for the next, and then negative for the third faction. So crewing here, as you can see, 3 different ideas. We can do loot, we can do Strange New Worlds, but it's taking advantage of the auto grind system to allow us to get a lot, and I mean a lot of that reputation. You can actually earn hundreds of billions of rep a day using this method, but you're going to have to tier up to get there. And that comes back to the original starting point I said, where we're using that strong box, we're using that aggregation loop to pay for these upgrades. Last but certainly not least, I wanted to talk about the Dauntless research, which can be found in the aggregation research tab. Again, there's a lot of good things with the Dauntless and how you can use it. Absolutely would recommend you start that 100-day free-to-play grind if you haven't already. And there's also that code that came out this month that will give you 5 blueprints if you're level 45 and above. That code is Villains2. Villains2 is the code. Now that might expire by the time you watch this video, but still good stuff here. Now we have the normal things like the warp range improvement, hull, shield, etc. These are kind of your kind of to be expected, right? And thankfully, not starting off with any Sigma stuff. This is all level 45. But as you push, you're going to see we have a cargo booster. Eventually going to do increasing the critical damage against non-armored hostiles using Seek and Destroy. So we're improving the Seek and Destroy ability. Then we're going to get to the ISO damage improvement for Seek and Destroy. Then we're getting to the Apex Barrier. Are you seeing a theme here? Right up top, we're going to have hazard resistance, which I think is going to be very important with a max out of 500% hazard resistance. As you can see, allowing you to scale into G6. The reason I like the Dauntless is because so many things that come into this game are geared towards higher levels. They're made for like what is now G7 or upper G6. This is a ship that's made to help really speed up the loops, get things done for G4, G5, and grow with you. So it's those players I'm most excited for. We have the increased cost efficiency for the Vengeance ship parts. Again, talking about being that upper level. And this is where it helps some of the G7. But to me, the bread and butter of this is definitely being a regular man, an everyday man or woman ship. And that's what brings a little bit of love to the Dauntless. Now, again, you will need to work on tiering it. It is a little bit of a slow grind. Not as slow as some of the others that we've had historically in terms of like how long it's going to take to get there. And your Seek and Destroy gets naturally better as you tier it up. So For example, you hit tier 4, you're gonna have 40,000 apex barrier, and that's great. But then you get to add that crit damage with it, and then eventually you add ISO damage with it, as well as a damage boost, which we can see here with the ship abilities on the screen itself. You can see a big boost in terms of how strong the Dauntless gets using the Seek and Destroy ability. Tier 1, yeah, it's still very effective. Would recommend everybody get it, but as you can see, it gets stronger and stronger and allows you to take advantage of more things that the Dauntless is designed to give you, which is really just at the end of the day, the ability to speed up the grinds. And by this speed up, it's simply being able to do the grinds without actually having to be there. That's the value of the Dauntless, the NX-01-A, even though it's technically not a Federation ship, it's an imaginary ship, but it's a real ship here. And it can be very valuable to you and your gameplay. Again, crewing, we're giving you 3 different crew methods that you can take a look at. But any hostile grind crew can work. Couple notes to remember, there are certain things you cannot do with the Dauntless. Don't try to take it in waves. Ain't gonna work. Don't try to do it in arenas. Ain't gonna do that, right? There's certain things the Dauntless cannot win against or cannot be effective against, but still overall is a very effective run, allowing you to speed up the prototype loop, the forbidden tech loop itself, and helping you get it going. Let me know if you have any questions about this ship and how it works and what you can do for it in the comment section down below. For those who are curious about the free-to-play path that I mentioned, well, that's going to be in the aggregation refinery, so make sure you're doing those pulls. And let me know if there's anything I can do to help you out. Thank you for all those who've contributed to this video. See you on the next one. We're out. Deuces. That's me. Bye.